Okay, so for today, we'll be having some tips in graphing the parabola. So we have here, if you can see, the equations x squared equals positive or negative 4cy, and the equation y squared equals positive or negative 4cx. Now, we are already familiar with parabola during the earlier years in high school, and we know that when we see x squared, it will be a parabola either opening upward or downward. So this time, when you see y squared, that would be a parabola opening to the left or to the right. And if you see equations like this one, the vertex is automatically 0, 0 or at the origin. Okay, this time students are actually confused on naming these equations because it could be y equals or x equals, and we know that in mathematics, if you are wrong in a symbol or a sign, that would mean your answer will also not be given full points. So for this one, we have the axis of symmetry and the directrix. If the given equation is in the form of the quantity of y minus k squared equals, we have positive or negative 4c times the quantity of x minus h. What will be the name of the equation of the directrix or the axis of symmetry? Now, make use of your imagination. We are all visual learners, or I mean, the majority of us are visual learners. So if you see this kind of equation, again, remember, when you see y squared, it opens either to the left or to the right. So, make a rough sketch of the graph. The axis of symmetry will divide the curve into two equal parts. So since this one opens to the left or to the right, let's say it opens to the left, the axis of symmetry could be the x-axis itself, or it is parallel to the x-axis. That means to say, if you're parallel with the x-axis, let's say this is the axis of symmetry, I'm just using broken lines for the rough sketch, sorry it's not straight, and it will pass through the y-axis. That means to say, if the graph opens to the left or to the right, we will use the equation y equals what? Y equals k. Man, why k? Because k is the y-coordinate of the vertex. So again, if we have a graph of the parabola with this form, the opening is to the left or to the right, we'll use the axis of symmetry y equals k. You will intersect the y-axis. Okay, now let's have the equation of the directrix line. So we still have the same form of the equation, opening to the left or to the right. Now remember that the directrix is a curve outside the, is a line outside the curve. So that would mean if it opens to the left, the line will be on this side. Okay, let's draw the line. So if we have this curve opening to the left, the line may be, let's say, here. Okay, this time it's vertical. So it will pass through a point at the x-axis. That means to say, on the directrix, we'll use x equals for the graph opening to the left or to the right. Okay, x equals what? A while ago we used k because k is the y-coordinate. This time we'll use h because h is the x-coordinate of the vertex of the parabola. Now, remember that the directrix outside the curve has the same distance from the vertex compared with that of the focus or focal point. So we'll add here or subtract c. Add or subtract c depending on the opening either to the left or to the right. On this case, since we open to the left, this will be h plus. Okay, let's now talk about the other form of the equation, which is the quantity of x minus h squared equals positive or negative 4c times the quantity of y minus k. So again, the problem is the confusion on writing the equation of the axis of symmetry and the directrix. Okay, this time let's try to draw again. Although my drawing is not that good. Anyway, I have no choice. Okay, so this is the x-axis, the horizontal, and the y-axis is the vertical line. If it is in this form, again, we're familiar with x squared, that means it opens upward or downward. So let's say the graph opens upward. Where can we see the axis of symmetry? Recall, the axis of symmetry divides the graph into two equal parts. So that is on the y-axis, or parallel to the y-axis if we move the graph. So in this case, let's say that it's the y-axis. Okay, so that would be, how do we write the equation of the axis of symmetry? It is x equals h. Sorry for the handwriting, we have x equals h. Yx equals h. Let's make another curve. So for example, we move the curve here. Okay, let's say on this side. Okay, so it opens downward. The axis of symmetry, let's say it's on this part. It passes through the x-axis. So that would mean we are correct. We have x equals h. H is the x-coordinate of the vertex of the parabola. Okay, let's now talk about the directrix or the directrix line that is outside the curve. So let's try to look at this figure first. If it opens upward, then the directrix may be located here. Sorry. Outside the curve. Okay, my hands are trembling. Outside the curve. So that would mean it intersects the y-axis. So we name this as y equals what? A while ago we used h, this time we'll use k, but not just k. We have to add or subtract c. Okay, that's the distance from the vertex going to the intersection of the directrix line here. Okay, so we have k minus c. For a graph that opens upward, we'll use y equals k minus c. And for a graph that opens downward, still it's y equals k, but this time we'll have plus c.